This is UMBC Careers Unleashed, where we unleash stories, insights, and expertise to support you on your career journey. Let's dive in.
What's up, Retrievers? We are back with another episode of your favorite podcast. This is UMBC's favorite podcast, if you didn't know. UMBC Careers Unleashed. And today we're going to be chatting with two great folks who are going to give us some wonderful information about how to use your semester breaks. They both have had the opportunity to study abroad. And so we're going to get some tidbits of information about that, but also some other things. They're really great people all together. So I got to know them a little bit, but I'm excited to get to know them even better on camera with y'all. So without further ado, and we'll start with you and then work our way in. Introduce yourself. Tell me what your major is. Tell me, a little bit about yourself, like where you come from, what brought you to UMBC, that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm William Mo. I'm a Japanese major here at UMBC. I'm a commuter student, so I've been born and raised here in Maryland my whole life. So yeah, I came to UMBC because, it was a choice between UMD and UMBC. So UMBC just seemed like a better fit for me with a smaller campus and everything. So.
Don't tell that story, William. You said that UMBC gave you a scholarship.
Well, that too.
Because the money
I didn't want to,
You got to tell the people the truth now.
Okay. The scholarship was also a huge factor in my decision as well.
I love that. What about you? Tell us your name and a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Kaylin Moravsky. I'm a junior. Double majoring in math and financial economics. Grew up in Ellicott City, so right down the street. I came to UMBC because there were a lot of opportunities here that I knew I'd like. Also got a scholarship. I'm part of the Sondheim Public Affairs Scholars Program.
Okay.
And the Honors College. So it seemed like there were a lot of open doors here. So I was like, let's go for it.
I love that. And you know what? So we're talking about how useful ways to use your semester breaks. And both of you had the opportunity to study abroad, but both of you also work on campus in the same department, the Office of Education Abroad, right? That's right. Those are abroad education. Education abroad?
Education abroad.
Y'all gonna have to get me together. Listen, it's been a long day. I want to offer to our audience, right, that like studying abroad or education abroad as like one of those ways, right, that you can make use of your semester breaks. This is our career controversy. Is education abroad an expensive experience for those who can afford the costs out of pocket? What say you, William? And give us all from all perspectives as the person who has gone abroad and now working in the office. Like, do you feel like this is an expensive experience that only people who can afford it, like that, you got to have the money, like out of your pocket to be able to pay for it? What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think there's we at the office and obviously so many other people just want to help students, reach out for these opportunities. And there really is a lot out there. You just got to go looking for it. You can ask our office. I mean, we work at the office, so we really know what's there and out there. So I definitely think there's a lot of ways to help cut down the cost.
Cut down the cost, but not, okay. You answer. What do you think?
I would say, yeah, it definitely depends. There are definitely some programs that, are thousands of dollars, and you look at them and you're like, oh, maybe that one's not for me. But there's other programs that are absolutely, and they're wonderful, amazing programs. Like the one that I did, ISIP Exchange. Everything I paid is what you would pay for a normal semester at UMBC. So I paid UMBC room and board and UMBC tuition, and that's what I got abroad. And I didn't pay any more than that. And fees and stuff. So everything that would go into a regular semester for a regular student living at UMBC, that's what I paid to go abroad. There's other programs where you'll pay UMBC your tuition and fees, and then you pay the room and board abroad. And sometimes it's a little bit cheaper. I think in general it's probably usually a little bit cheaper. I would say so, yeah. And then again, if you go to the Study Education Abroad website and you go to the scholarships page, there's at least 10 different scholarships on there. And they do offer them. There's some specific scholarships just for Pell Grant recipients. So if you're a Pell Grant recipient, there's the the College of Arts and Humanities Social Sciences Dean Scholarship, which is every semester, I think for 5 years or so. She's promised a amount of money if you have a cause major. So it's definitely, you can definitely find ways to make it affordable and make it work for you.
Okay, so what is now like the most expensive like study abroad experience that you've heard of?
I have a friend right now who's looking to go to Africa, and it's a program that is like part of it is in Kenya and part of it is in Ghana and part of it is somewhere else too, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's very cool, but they're moving you around a lot, and it's through an affiliate provider, and so she said that one is a little pricey.
What was a little pricey? What's that?
I didn't get the number, but I don't think I want to know.
So over 10,000, you think?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woo.
But it would be for a full semester too.
Right, for a full semester and a lifetime of memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
And again, she's not paying that. She has scholarships and things like that that she's applying for that are going to help pay for that. So
exactly. So you're saying that the money is there. You just kind of have to do the little digging or whatever to get it.
I mean, it's right on our website. You don't even have to dig that much.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That and you know what? Those are the pieces of information, because sometimes we shortchange ourselves because we don't know. You know what I mean? Okay, so you told us you were in South Africa for 2 weeks, but you were in Finland for a whole semester. So like, what were you living on? One sandwich a day? Like, how did you, like you were just like, yeah, Rice Krispie treats every day. Like, how did you, like maintain? I know you had your room and board and your tuition, but like the extra stuff.
Yeah. So for meals on campus, with a student card, I was able to get, I think it was like €3. So it was like pretty much $3, give or take, lunches.
Okay.
And they were like all you can eat buffet style lunches for $3, which was very nice. I did have to start like monitoring my money a little bit, kind of making sure, because I had the room that I had a fridge in it, and there was a shared kitchen, so I kind of did start cooking and kind of budgeting out kind of how I was going to do things, because I didn't know I wanted to travel a lot too. So I was like, I'm going to travel, I'm going to make sure that I have the food that I need. And again, that was pretty much money that I had like saved from working that I went abroad with.
Okay. And what about you, William? You had an internship, but we don't know if the internship was paid. Like, how did you manage while you were in Japan?
Right. So the internship was paid. I forget. I think it was like every month or so. It wasn't an insane amount, but it was enough. Room and board and meals were actually provided free to me.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
because you were in that program. And so that's kind of, some internships, they do that too. Like, I know that's not unusual, especially like if it's somewhere else. They have like a dorm or kind of thing where you can stay. So I can see that being a thing. So how did you do, you use just your salary for like the other stuff that you wanted to do? Like, what if you wanted to do something on the weekend or?
I've been working for the Education Abroad office, and then I had some money from like extra from scholarships. So I did use some of my own personal money when I was there in Japan, because I want to go out, see stuff, buy stuff, right?
Right.
So I did, use a few of my personal expenses, but it wasn't like anything too crazy usually.
You know what? I love hearing that both of you say that you saved and that you used money from your savings. Anybody can do it if they have a desire to go outside the country and learn something. So, I mean, we just having a conversation. Sometimes I feel weird, like, should I say, now tell me, Kayla, now tell me, William, but I don't want you to feel like that. We can start with you, Kayla. Like, what was it? Were you working at the office of abroad education or education abroad? Education abroad. I need to switch it on my document. Education abroad. Like, how did you learn about your opportunity? Like, how did you learn about it?
Yeah, so I kind of knew like all through high school, like my high school like college letter or essays were about like how I want to study abroad. Like I knew going into it, like, I love to travel. I want to get an experience doing that. And so
you had your mind already made up before you came. You were like, I'm getting out of the country.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I've done it twice now with the study abroad office, so it's been great.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so I started with Study Abroad 101, like my freshman fall. I'm sure maybe we'll jump into that.
So then 101, what is that? What is it, Study Abroad 101? What's that?
Yeah, so it's like a 30-minute virtual session where it's like if you want to study abroad, that's like the first step. We break down all the different programs that the office offers, like who you should talk to in terms of like your academic advisors, your financial aid advisors, who you should talk to in the office, to kind of get you started on that journey.
So because you already knew before you came to UMBC that this was something you wanted to do, you were intentional about figuring out how to do it. So
Yeah.
you didn't just stumble on this.
No, I did know. I was like, I want to study abroad. Let me figure out how I can do that. So I did that study abroad 101 in the fall, and then a little bit later, I'm not sure exactly the timeline, but the associate director of the Sondheim Public Affairs program, she put up a faculty-led program to South Africa, which is how I studied abroad. It was the Sondheim Public Affairs program funded a lot of it for its scholars, so it ended up being that way. It was nice, but it was also like I don't think I'd ever go to South Africa just like that. So it was incredible.
So that's where you went the first time that you studied abroad. Where did you go the second time?
I did last spring semester in Finland.
Oh, wow. Oh, so we have to, that's like, of course, 2 different continents.
Oh, completely, yeah.
But like,
I'm like, how do I get onto a 4th one so that I can say I studied on 4 continents in 4 years?
Yeah, that's a gold bucket list.
Yeah.
Okay, checking things off. All the continent, like 4 continents. What about you, William? Like, how did you come across that opportunity to get some education outside of the U.S.?
Right. So in high school, I actually was taking Japanese courses already, and there was a offer to go on this trip to Japan actually for 2 weeks. And
Okay.
yeah, because we had a sister exchange with one of the prefectures in Japan, Yokohama, Maryland, is actually a sister state relationship with that. So my high school had that connection there. So yeah, for 1 week we stayed with one of the high school students. I went to the school there, and then the next week would be spent going around Japan, seeing all the sites and everything. So I knew that coming to UMBC, I wanted to continue studying Japanese. At the time, I wasn't a Japanese major, though. I was a computer science major, but somewhere around the 2-year mark here at UMBC, I switched majors just because it wasn't working out. And yeah, I'm now fully focused into Japanese. So I didn't, unlike Kayla, who applied to the Education Abroad office during her study abroad program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you said that off camera, but still,
Sorry,
that's true. But still, even still, so you both were actually in your abroad like experiences when you learned about the opportunity to work for the office. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I was. Were you?
I was already a part of the office before I applied to. Well, my study abroad experience was more of an internship instead, so it's a little bit different. Yeah, so I was already working for the office for a little bit, and then through the Japanese department here at UMBC, they were offering the internship with the same, sister state relationship thing in mind. So I wanted to, go back to Japan. I loved it the first time I went. And since I'm a Japanese major, obviously I want to go back to Japan. So that's why I applied to the internship.
Got you. And so then what did you do while you were in Japan?
So during my time there, I was there for about 3-4 months at a combined middle school, high school, and I would teach English there.
Okay, so you taught English. Now, question. Are you fluent in Japanese?
I wouldn't say fluent per se, but definitely enough to like hold a conversation.
I think it's just interesting to me that it's like you want to speak every language. You should like learn Spanish. Can you speak Spanish?
I mean, I did learn it in middle school. I don't remember a single thing though.
You could make so much money. I feel like you could make so much money. I just feel like, and this is like a snippet into my life. I have family members who live in Germany, right? And of course, their mom is from the U.S., so she speaks English, and they grew up hearing English in their home, but they grew up in Germany. These are my cousins. They grew up in Germany, so of course they speak German, and German is probably for them maybe their first language, probably. Because by the time they were born, their mother was fluent in German. So then their father is Italian, so they speak Italian. I'm like, y'all speak every language.
Yeah. I have a friend like that too, where she was born in Spain. Her dad is Italian. Her mom is Spanish, but lived in Canada for a while. And so they also speak English, Spanish, French, Italian. I'm like, so you can just talk to everybody. Like, how I want to do that. Like, that's so cool.
And so and this is kind of like, all over the place, but like, do you feel like, and I feel like that's probably from your vantage point, but also not just as the student who went to study abroad, but also now having worked in there, do students come with the concern about a language barrier? Because you're a Japanese major, so going to Japan maybe for you makes sense because of your education and your ability to be able to speak that language. But like, if I go to France and I don't speak French, like, are people nervous about that?
Sometimes,
yes.
And you kind of have to look into like the different program requirements, because some programs are like, we would like you to have some French, and other programs are like, it's fine, it'll all be in English, but like, pick up a little bit, do some Duolingo or something so you can get around. But I don't think there's any place that every single program requires you to know the language.
Yeah, like we had some faculty leds, in various countries, and I don't think for those you need any language requirements.
Nope,
Like
not at all.
we hold one in Japan, which is actually coming up, I think. And, quite a few of the students there don't really have any Japanese knowledge at all, and, they can go and be just fine. So
So you now told us that you went to Japan and you were on an internship where you taught English
yes.
to the students there. When you were abroad in South Africa, and then you were in, what's the second place you
Finland.
were? Finland. Like, okay, so tell us what you did in South Africa and then what you did in Finland. Like, what were those experiences like?
Yeah, so South Africa, like I said, was a faculty-led program.
Okay.
So it was a group, I believe it was 18 of us, UMBC students and a UMBC professor, and we all kind of picked up a class and put it into South Africa.
Oh, wow.
And so we got, it was called Global Communities and something exchange, cultural exchange, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was focused on community service and kind of being within communities, seeing how people are living when you are, trying to ignite change and things
so
like
was that the name of the class?
Yeah.
Global Communities, and that was the name of the class. And so because the class was based around like global community, obviously that's how it was relevant for it to go there.
Right.
I got it. Okay, because you said you were an econ and math major, and I'm like, well, what you study in econ in South Africa? Which you
No,
could.
yeah, but no, it was like a upper level poli-sci elective, and it also came back as a culture credit, so we did get some credit from doing that as well, which was nice, but didn't go connect back to math and econ, unfortunately, but that was okay. It was wonderful because you should branch out. But yeah, so we did some sightseeing, we visited some communities, we did some community service, so it was really great there. And then in Finland, I went through a provider called ISEP.
Okay.
And with that, I was enrolled at a university in Finland. I chose Finland because it was off the beaten path a little bit. I didn't want to do like there's no problems if you go to France, Spain, Italy, but I was like, let me go somewhere where, first of all, I've traveled a lot. So I was like, let me go somewhere where I haven't been. And it's just gonna be like a completely new experience. And so I went to Finland also because, as I mentioned earlier, I think off the podcast, I'm interested in education, and they have a very good education system in Finland. So I went to Finland, and I did take math and econ classes in Finland that transferred back to my degree.
Okay.
That's something that you work with your department before you go abroad, is they help you do like a verification of transferability form. So kind of before you even go, like, this is what I'm going to take, and this is how it's going to come back to UMBC.
Got you. So you two, it's a lot of things. You two had two very different like experiences from one another, but then yours, the two times that you went abroad were also different.
Yeah.
So it's like you were an internship where you got the opportunity to work. Now, while you were abroad working, were you also taking classes at the same time?
Yeah, I was continuing the Japanese course I was taking since.
Okay.
I should say academic calendars differ in Japan, maybe just in general, the world from the U.S. This was during the little bit into the spring semester, so about a month left in the spring semester. I started the internship, and then I just continued the internship into the summer, break usually here. But in Japan, the school session actually just started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got there like a week after it started when our semester is just about to end. So
Got you.
it worked out.
So then it was like an online class or something, or how did you handle
So
it?
it was in person, but I worked it out with my professor to, switch the final stretch of the class into an online thing.
And that worked out for you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really, even though the the semester there, you were able to make it so that it wasn't like a barrier. You had to have a conversation, but you were able to kind of like overcome that challenge.
Yeah,
or whatever.
of course, my Japanese professor was willing to, work with me on that because I'm in Japan doing something. So.
I got you. So you were there for an internship. Now, did you have to, well, I don't want to get that far. So you were there for an internship. Now you, the first time, had a teacher that picked their class up and moved it into South Africa. Now, I imagine you're not just taking one class, right?
Well, it was the summer.
Oh, okay.
So all of our faculty-led programs are either the winter semester or the summer semester, or they're starting now like the spring break programs, which it's a class that you take throughout the spring, and then 1 week of it goes abroad during spring break.
Ah, okay. We're learning.
Yeah,
we're learning. So now your teacher picked up the course and took it to another place. But then the second time you took classes at another university, was it like a sister school, or like how did that work out?
No, so it went through ISEP. So ISEP has hundreds of partnerships throughout the world. And so I applied through ISEP. I said, I think I had to give them a list of like 6 universities. So I chose all of them in Finland because I knew like I want to go to Finland. And you like rank them, but you can put country or universities from anywhere on their thing, and they'll give you, they try to give you your first choice, and if it doesn't work out, they give you your second choice. And so that's how I was placed. I was in Tampere, about an hour and a half or so from Helsinki, at Tampere University in Finland.
So now, and you were there for the entire semester? Okay. And did you take like a full course load while you were there, or you just?
I did, yeah. So theirs is also a little bit different than like William was saying. So instead of having semesters, they kind of had like quarters, but it was also funky because some classes were both quarters, and then some classes started halfway through one quarter and went to the halfway of the other quarter. So I think it ended up being like 6 or 7 classes that ended up transferring back. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
so that's cool. Now, question. So the course that you took over the summer, that was just like a credit for the one course, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then in your case, while you were abroad on the internship, did that internship turn into some credits for you, or was it like experiential learning where you just added it to your resume?
So on top of the Japanese like language class I was taking, you also have to enroll in an internship course.
Okay.
So it was MLL 430. So yeah, I had to take that course as part of the internship.
And so that abroad opportunity served as your internship. That's cool. So are there any instances, and this is just for my, because I don't know, but are there any instances where students will study abroad that whatever they do internationally does not necessarily come back as a credit, or every time
Nope.
it's
all of our partnerships are at accredited universities. So anything you take abroad, you can bring back.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's not, and so it's, even though it's like, if you want to go to a destination place, because you got to choose, right? You wanted to go to Finland, right? And you wanted to go to Japan, right? Even though you got to choose, you had that safeguard in place where you knew like, okay, in addition to getting to go to a destination of my choice, this is also beneficial for my degree.
Yeah.
I love that. So I want to shift gears a little bit. And talk about, because we said that you were there for an entire semester. Right? Well, no, you were there a little bit of the spring into the summer. You were there in the summer and then a whole semester. So we talked about that. Like, okay, so how did you, over the course of that time, like live and survive? Because you had an internship, so maybe there was money there, but like, you don't have a job in South Africa or Finland. Like, how did you live? Like, how did you survive? Like, what was the thing? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, so South Africa was just 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
So, I think I mentioned that the part of the cost of that, the tuition for the course, was covered by the Sondheim program. But there's a bunch of other different scholarships. So I was also an abroad ambassador for the Education Abroad Office, which had a stipend with it too. So I did it both times in Finland and in South Africa.
An abroad ambassador.
Yep.
Tell me, what's that?
Yeah, so I had a blog for the Education Abroad office.
Okay.
That's on their website. For the faculty-led programs, because they're shorter, you do it every week, a blog post. And then for the whole semester, it was every 2 weeks I sent in a blog post. And then also those UMBC life takeovers that you see from students studying abroad.
Yeah.
Those are all abroad ambassadors. So I have 2 of those as well.
So now, see, you're Kayla. Kayla, this is how I know that both of y'all, this is how y'all got your scholarships, because you were so intentional. You, before you came here, said this is something that you wanted to do. And so you were intentional about trying to do things that would allow you to be able to accomplish your goal. So, okay. So did that cover your expenses for travel too, between the Sondheim scholarship and then your funding that came from being an abroad ambassador? Like, did that cover your entire like travel there and then all of the things?
So for South Africa, I think I still had a little bit to pay out of pocket, just from like working and things like that. For Finland, I used you can use in most cases your aid that you're receiving. So I had my aid that I used for like the regular spring semester, and then there was additional scholarships from my scholars program that I was able to use, and then I did the abroad ambassador again, and then the rest of it was just again like working and personal fundraising and things like that.
Okay, so you've been out of the country twice, at least with the study abroad or the education abroad program, and you once, William. Tell me, like, what are some of the things that seeing the world and learning abroad has like taught you? Like, what are the things that you'll take with you forever? You could tell me first, Kayla.
I mean, I'll take my friendships like forever. The people that I spent most of the time with in Finland were other international students that were in Finland.
Okay.
Because Europe has its own like exchange system. It's called Erasmus that they have set up. And so I spent my like main friend group. It was Italians and Danish people, Spanish girls. I have a close friend in England. So now I get to travel and I don't need to pay for a place to stay because I'm like, hey, I was going to come visit Spain. Can I crash? And they're like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and also just the ability to like talk to people from any country. You can always find common ground with people, and people always, want to know about what it's like in the US, if it's different than what they've seen. And I get to learn about what it's like in other countries. And now I have a trip planned for this summer with some of my friends. We're going to Turkey. So I have the ability to see the world now, which is incredible.
I love that, right? Like you just, and then like if you have your own family here, like then you're like, if you decide to have children, they have like places where they can go like, oh, so-and-so, if you do a study abroad there, you can go and get like lunch from my friend, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And I had, cause my parents are like obviously very super open. So I've had friends, oh my gosh, who's visited me so far? Oh, I had a girl from Finland come visit me. She was studying abroad in Minnesota from Finland, and she came to visit us every month that she was here. And then now she's gonna come for Thanksgiving next year. And then my friend from London also, she came and she stayed with us too. So like I can go there and they can come and see the U.S. and see me and stay with my family. So
that's awesome.
We get a full cultural exchange. So like that's really something I wasn't expecting. Is like I went to Finland. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn about Finland, and I learned about all of these other countries at the same time. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's one of the things, especially like because the way that the U.S. is kind of situated, like it's all the U.S. kind of. I mean, we border Canada and then Mexico on the southern end, but like in Europe, you can just get on a train and go to another country, and like as far as like as long as it might take us to get to New York from Maryland. What about you, William? Like, what is one of the things or some of the things that you feel like you'll carry forever with you from your experience?
I mean, I really enjoyed all the times I had talking with the students. It's really interesting to hear like why they were learning English. So like some wanted to be like an international lawyer or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, big goals for some who are just in middle school and high school. And it was so interesting, Of course, some, were just learning it because they have to type of thing. But, for some of the students that signed up for like a conversation cafe that we held, we would just come and talk about random topics, and so it was always so cool just to hear like what their goals, what they hope to gain out of learning English, what they hope to gain out of us, because there were two interns, me and Carly. She was there as well, and yeah, it was just so interesting, really.
Now, question. So your major now is, what's the official name of like the major? What is it called?
So it's like modern language and linguistics
Right.
and intercultural communication, and then Japanese focus.
Japanese
attached right at
focus.
the
Got
end.
it. Because I didn't want to mess it all up, because I know it's
Yeah.
a whole complicated thing. Do you think that you'll ever like go and live in Japan?
That is definitely one of my goals. So
Okay.
between the U.S. government and Japanese government, there's a program called JET, Japanese English Teacher
Oh,
Program.
yeah.
So it's for graduates, or
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, anyone who graduated from college, basically, not just graduate students.
Right.
So I want to apply to that after I finish, my stuff, my degree here at UMBC. So it's like a minimum 1 year contract. So I definitely want to try it out and see, because I definitely want to go back to Japan. I want to see, all the other parts of Japan, because I stayed, within the central island. So I want to like, see what's above and what's below. So.
And I'm just so curious, like what inspired your like passion for Japanese culture and the language?
I mean, as a kid, I would watch the Saturday cartoons,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes, they would have stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! You may not know it, or like Pokemon. And
Uh-huh.
I watched, I was like, wow, this stuff's incredible, as a kid.
Uh-huh.
And then as I grew older, I got more interested in Japanese culture, because, in the shows, they naturally just include, little tidbits about Japan, even though the show wasn't like Japanese focused. And then I just gradually got more interested through like playing Japanese video games, watching Japanese anime, movies, and all that stuff. And then in high school, I got to take Japanese. So yeah, I'm just really fully entrenched in learning more about Japan and its language.
And you used that opportunity, that study abroad opportunity, to kind of like further that passion. Now, I don't remember. How did you learn about the internship? Was it that you were working in the office and that's how you heard about it, or how did you hear about this internship opportunity that would take you to Japan?
Right. So the Japanese coordinator, who is also my professor now,
Okay.
Professor Hugabum, she sent out like an email or a notice about this internship program, wants students to apply. So there was an information session. So I was like, well, I want to go to Japan again. So I looked into the internship, went to the information session, learned all that I could about like the internship process, the application, and, yeah. So had to write an essay, showed up for the interview and everything. So.
So you, even though you were intentional, and you knew what you were trying to accomplish, this opportunity came to find you through your email. So he wasn't as stealthy as you. I'm going to Finland and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
I hear that. So then, okay, here's what I want to know. It's about maximizing and using your breaks. You did your one experience over the summer. Then you did another one that was actually during the school year. You did yours a little bit during the end of the semester and then into the summer. Are there other things that you like to do in the spring or winter or summer?
Yeah, so last summer the first summer I was working on campus during the summer, in the summer camp that the RAC does. And then I went to South Africa. And then last summer I was doing an internship at the International Rescue Committee, the IRC in Baltimore.
Okay.
So that was really great.
What is that? What do they rescue?
They work with refugees.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So I was part of the youth department, and they did like mentorship programs for recent
Doesn't that sound so
refugee
ignorant
youth.
of me? It's like, what do they rescue?
No, it's okay.
Like I was thinking, like, oh, do they save animals?
No, it's okay. I have a shirt that says like rescue on the back of it, and people ask me all the time. They're like, "What are you rescuing?" I'm like,
Yeah.
refugees. We're helping people.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, and then I spent this winter traveling.
Uh-huh.
And I went to see my friends in Spain and my friends in Italy.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm hoping this summer to have an internship with the Maryland Department of Education.
Kayla, you are a mover and a shaker.
I'm busy.
You know what? I want to ask you a question. Do you feel like that in comparison to some of your peers, whether inside of college or like outside of college, that you feel like you've lived like so much more life?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know. UMBC is just such an incredible place. Everybody's
Okay.
doing something. Like, I'm like, oh, you're doing that? Like, how do I do that? You're doing this other thing. And it's like, everyone is just so amazing. They're doing so many different things. And I'm like, I want to be just like you. Like,
Okay.
I don't want to fall behind. Like, that's why I'm doing all these things.
I got you. Because I'm listening to you. I'm like, man, Kayla has been around the world. Where have I been? I mean, I've been in a few places, but my goodness.
My goal is 40 countries by 25.
Wow.
Wow.
I think I'm at 34, 35, something like that right now. So just a couple more.
Don't be intimidated, William. Please do not be intimidated. Okay. What now would you say to, like, if someone was considering like wanting to study abroad, like what piece of bit of advice would you give them, William?
I mean, just don't think like you can't do it. Like, that was a huge thing that was like really stopping me at the start, even though this internship was, right there. I was talking with my parents, some friends, and they're like, concerned about the whole financial cost. And I was like, I want to really do this, even if like there's like some financial costs that like may hinder me. Like, I really want to do it. And I think, the cost is just a part of it. It's like, it shouldn't be something that holds me back type of thing. Because there's always ways to like, there's so many resources out there that can really like help you just, go on that journey. And I think a study abroad experience is like a great thing. It'll really enrich you and expose you to a lot of different things that you couldn't get here.
So you mentioned being in mathematics and econ. Is it a double major?
Yeah.
And you don't want to do either of those. You want to go into education.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they'll come in useful somehow,
Right,
but
right.
I'm not going to be a finance bro.
Got you. Now, you are talking about, William, you mentioned doing the JET program. Are you also interested in becoming an educator, or is that kind of like an opportunity for you to be of service abroad? And then like, what's your thing?
Yeah. So, I don't have like some grand goal of like what I really want to be type of thing.
Okay.
I did enjoy teaching. I really did. I don't know if I want to be an educator for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But I do want to live in Japan, even for a little bit. I don't know, like a permanent thing. Just start off as a teacher. If I want to continue being a teacher, great. If there's some other opportunity that pops up and I'm really interested in it, then I want to, go for that. I can't really speak for the future now because, I'm not there yet. So.
Okay. Well, I love that. I really, really, really. Now here's my final question before we wrap it up. If you had to give like one insider gem, because you work in the Office of Education Abroad, like, what's the secret? Like, if like, psst, like, come here, let me tell you. Like, anybody who's considering it, nervous about it, looked at the cost of whatever, like, psst, let me just tell you this is the thing. Like, what would be your piece of insider information?
There's just so many people in our office who want to help you do it. Like, every single person is like, it's not like let's see if we can make it work. It's like, no, let's find the right fit for you. If you want to do it, we can find a way to make it work. So even when we get like all the mechanical engineering majors that are like, I have to take all these classes every semester, we're like, okay, you can go in the winter. Like, we'll make it work. And Allison is our, oh my goodness, I'm like blanking. Oh, Allison Curtis is the education abroad advisor. Everyone who studies abroad has to meet with her. And she helps you go through different programs. And Dr. Souders is in our office to help you with scholarships. And it's all on our website. And so if you want to do it, like, we want you to do it. Like, we'll put in everything that you put into it and make sure that we find a way to make it work for you. So definitely do it. Okay.
What about you, William? What would you say your insider piece of information?
She kind of stole what I was about to say. Like,
so sorry.
Okay.
I mean,
well, she stole what you. Okay, I got one for you then. So, what is one of the things that while you were abroad that you were like, ugh, like kind of like the other side of the coin, like everybody's excited to go, but then like once you get there, did you ever have any experiences where you were like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be like this?
Well, I mean, I was an internship, so I was working part-time for the office, but I haven't had like a full-time job yet, so that was new to me.
So just having to work like
yeah.
Okay. But anything about the Japanese culture or being there, or did you feel like, did you feel like, were you lonely at all? Were you homesick?
I mean, at times I did feel a little bit isolated. For sure. I wish I could have talked, I always have some regrets in the back of my mind. Like, I wish I could have talked to these people more. I wish to got them know better. At the time, my Japanese level it was not at the level it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a bit of a language barrier. But despite that, it was just so nice knowing that the staff there were like always willing to help me if I had any issues, willing to listen to me if, I just want to like say something or to have someone to talk to. So I think it can seem intimidating at first, there's a language barrier on top of these strangers you never met before. But I think, all around the world, people just want to be, helpful. They just want to, no one's out to get you type of thing.
Yeah. I understand that. I love that. Well, I think that's what I got. We've been all around the world.
We have.
Literally. Okay. 35 countries. How many countries have you been to?
I've been to China before for family reasons.
Okay, so then U.S., Japan, China. So that's 3 countries. Where have I been? I've been to the U.S. Hey, I've been to Jamaica.
Ooh.
I've been to England and Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, so 4. Look at that. I'm a world traveler.
Yeah, you
Don't
are.
leave me out of the
Yeah, you
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Well, I hope that folks are inspired by y'all, and I think we're gonna in the show notes we'll try to like link the website in the show notes to the not study abroad, the education abroad office. So for students who are inspired and they want to follow in your footsteps, that they can get more information there. All right, y'all. Well, that's what we got for this episode. Peace out. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Hooray.
Yay.
Awesome.